Now there's one last thing that I'd like to do before I start placing furniture in my room. And that is, I'd like to actually lock down this entire canvas, this entire layer 1, so that when I do lasso objects, that I don't accidentally select them, or as we saw in the last lesson, accidentally delete them. And I can do that by locking down what I call layer 1. Now, as you can see, I have all of my fixtures, my floor, my window and door, and my fireplace all locked down. You can see those little locks. They're locked so that I don't accidentally move them as I add the furniture to my floor plan. Oh, FYI, if you want to unlock these objects, you can just click on the unlock icon up here in your toolbar. There, I just unlocked everything. But what I can do is lock down the entire layer so that nothing can be moved. And the benefit is that your mouse won't even detect anything on that layer. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Over on the right side of the program, you'll see the Layers tab. And if I move my mouse on top of the Layers tab, the Layers window will open up. Now, I do like to keep the Layers window open when I'm working in it, so I will click on that middle icon to keep that window open. There. Remember that middle icon looks like a push pin. If you're on a Mac, it will look like a dot. Notice we're on the default layer, layer 1. And if you look to the right, you'll see a lock. Right now it's in the open position. I'm going to click on this layer lock and lock down that layer. There. And you can see that all of the fixtures are locked. Now, what's the difference? First of all, let me move the canvas over a little bit so you can see all of the objects. Now, I'm going to do the click away so that nothing is highlighted. This time, I'm going to try and grab that floor. So I'm going to click on the floor, and nothing got highlighted. I'm going to try and lasso all of the objects, and nothing got highlighted. So in terms of designing, I prefer the layer lock. If your layer is locked down, it makes designing on top of it that much easier because you're not constantly grabbing the floor or a fixture by mistake. So layer 1 is the default layer, or what we call the base layer. So whether you are creating a space plan or designing on a photo, or whether you've created a wall elevation, we call those the base layers, and we recommend that you lock down layer 1 and start designing on layer 2. Using layers is optional, but we think that if you lock down your layer 1 and start designing on layer 2, you're going to have a much better design experience. To create layer 2, it's easy. Just click on this icon that's located at the bottom of the layers window. It looks like a plus sign. And when you click on it, there, you've got layer 2. Layer 2 right now is highlighted, so we can start designing on layer 2. Now, before we start placing our furniture in the room, I just want to summarize the difference between your object locks, which are located in the top toolbar, and your layer locks. Remember that with these locks up in the toolbar, you can lock down an object, but your mouse will still detect it. And if you remember from our last lesson, you can still delete an item that was locked using these object locks. But if you lock down your layer, your mouse won't detect those objects at all. Now, I just want to leave you with 2 tips on layers. If you start the program and you go to open your file, which I'm going to do right now, File, Open Recent File, and I'm selecting Baker Den. And if you want to start designing or resume designing, make sure to open up your Layers window. And I want to keep it open. Now notice neither layer is highlighted. Make sure to highlight layer 2 if you want to start or resume designing. There. If you don't select layer 2, then the program is going to think that you want to work on layer 1. So it's always important that when you open up your program, open up the layers window and make sure to select layer 2 if that's where you're designing. Now, we haven't yet talked about having multiple canvases within your file. But a canvas is just like another page. You know, you might have a Word document with multiple pages. Well, your design file can have multiple canvases. So to create another canvas, you just click on this icon up here. There, and now you have another canvas, which is, as you can see, blank. If you go back to your first canvas over here, you can start designing. But the reason why I mention this is that whenever you change canvases, make sure to highlight your layer 2. There. So your tip 1 is to make sure you highlight the appropriate layer whenever you open your file, or if you happen to switch canvases. Make sure to highlight your layer 2. And your tip 2 is stick to 2 layers. Your first layer is your base layer, which would contain your floor plan, or if you're designing on a photo, it would contain your photo, or if you're building a wall elevation, it will contain your wall. But we recommend that base 1 be locked and that you start designing on layer 2. If you try and get too fancy using more than 2 layers, you will probably get yourself into trouble. So keep it simple.